Okay, so hello to anyone that's watching this video. So I just wanted to do this video for anyone that's spending New Year's alone. This is going to be me just sharing my New Year's by myself. I just thought this could be very helpful because I think there's this expectation for New Year's that this sense of rejuvenation and excitement, and I think it can be very lonely, not only for people that are physically alone, but also for people that just emotionally in their hearts do not feel that sense of rejuvenation, do not feel that sense of excitement and starting off on a new slate. And so, I think oftentimes when we have these feelings, we think that we're very alone in these feelings, and that, we have this idea that everyone else is, just very excited and very much looking forward to starting over. And then it's only us that is, stuck wherever we are, stuck in the past, stuck in a certain mentality, or just simply not feeling this joy that I feel like we're told that we should have. It's like it's the New Year's, it's a fresh start. You're supposed to, I don't know what we're supposed to do, but I feel like we're supposed to be happy and excited, and we can feel left out, if we don't feel that we are. So this is just meant for anyone that isn't really feeling those feelings, or simply alone for this time, and that's pretty much it. I find these videos very helpful. Like, just for me personally, I love watching these videos on YouTube about people like showing their time alone and showing themselves like experiencing certain feelings alone. I think it's just very helpful because, again, I feel like a lot of people have a habit of I think especially, people that are very isolated tend to kind of project, certain images and kind of perceive that to be reality. And so I think a lot of people have issues kind of with the understanding that there are many people that are alone. There are many people that are feeling alone and that are experiencing exactly the same thing that you're experiencing. And sometimes it can be helpful, to just be reminded of that, rather than just constantly be in a state of comparison, which, can just be horrible. Well, we should be throwing comparison out the window. Comparison is just, the thief of everything: joy, happiness, fulfillment, absolutely everything. Just no comparison. But obviously that is easier said than done. I'm trying to think of the things I wanted to talk about. I feel like there was like a couple of things that I was feeling, especially, and I feel these like practically every single New Year's. It's constantly the same feelings. I think like I have this perception that many people have this ability to, once they have, this motivation for a new year, kind of, start everything on a clean slate, which is something I've always envied, because I am not capable of doing that in any way whatsoever. And I've always envied that feeling of, seeing other people and be able to just have this feeling, even though, oftentimes that feeling, wears off. Okay, sorry, I just ran out of storage. But so it's just saying, even though that feeling wears off of, starting over on a clean slate, I feel like, at least temporarily, people have this feeling of leaving certain things in the past and just starting as this new person, which I find like is just beyond me. I have never felt this feeling in my life. I have never felt like I cannot carry myself and carry everything that I have ever experienced anywhere I go. Like, there's nowhere I can leave that behind. I can't leave any part of myself, any part of my experiences, any part of who I am. I feel like I just carry it like, a bag of stones on my back and just take it everywhere. And it doesn't matter that tomorrow's 2024 instead of 2023. It doesn't change anything at all. And I feel like that capacity to just, even if it's, mostly somewhat of an illusion, but I feel like, the capacity to believe that there's something different about this. It's, fresh start, starting over, it's very enviable, you know, as someone that has a tendency to just, I feel like I am the purest definition of a hoarder in every sense, you know. I don't just hoard things, I hoard thoughts in my head, I hoard in my heart, in my soul, I hoard like everything. And there's nowhere for these things to go, you know. Even when you're hoarding thoughts, you can put them on paper, but then you hoard the paper and you hoard how it's going to affect. I don't know how. I'm trying to explain this in the best way possible, but it's very difficult to explain. Um, it's not about the paper. It's not about hoarding the paper. It's just, I feel like I constantly have this feeling that I have to keep everything in because there's nowhere for it to go. It's a very frustrating feeling, and I feel like especially when you perceive other people to be starting anew and, you know, being capable of, you know, whatever it is, you know, whether it's feeling like a new person, whether it's feeling like you have another chance to try something, a chance to be different, a chance to change your habits. I feel like when you're someone that has a tendency to be very clingy of things, you know, in like in your heart, in your head, your thoughts, like if you're someone that has a tendency to keep those things a lot inside of you, it's very difficult to um, feel those feelings of, you know, rejuvenation. And then on top of that, there's also just the rational side. Okay, so there's also the rational side of it that just makes it feel like there's really no difference at all. You know, when the clock goes from 11:59 p.m. to 12:00, it's not like there's like some, you know, pixie dust falling from the sky and making you fly up to the clouds and be a happier person. You know, I feel like it's very similar for me personally to like the mentality of, oh, I'll start over on Monday, I'll start fresh on Monday, which I feel like is just not a very useful mentality. But I think regardless of that, it still makes you feel left out. You know, when other people are capable of having that feeling of, you know, rejuvenation, and it kind of just makes you feel like there's something wrong with you for just not having those feelings in any way or feeling like something's different. I mean, obviously it does mean a little bit more, you know, because of the planets and everything, but it still doesn't feel, again, like in my mind, it's like 11:59, 12:00. Nothing has happened, really. Like in my mind, that's just how it is. Even if we were to talk about it, like in the sense that, you know, oh, the planet did like a full turn and everything, it's not like it goes from 0 to 100. It's still like a slow thing, you know. It's nothing actually happens in that second, and I don't know, it's very difficult for me to not perceive it in the way that I'm perceiving it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with how I'm perceiving it. It's just that, again, it can make you feel very left out. And then um, I feel like obviously on top of that, there's the expectation to be around people and, you know, all of these things that, you know, we're told is like what we're supposed to do, which, again, I think just like showing and expressing, you know, what you're doing and how that's different and that it's okay to be alone is a great way to, you know, get together by being alone together. I think that's a beautiful thing, you know, to each be alone and be comforted by each other's solitude. And at the same time, wish for, you know, people eventually. That would be nice, but, you know, the wrong company is never going to be better than no company at all, which I feel like is something to remind ourselves as well. Like being in a room full of people that are like really, really excited and you having, you know, not knowing anyone and having, you know, different feelings, you're not going to be happy in that room just simply because you're around people. Um, I think that's also something to keep in mind. And I think that's it. I don't know what I'm going to do today. I think I am going to go to a coffee shop or something and try to finish my book. I've been in like such a horrible reading slump in the last like for quite some time. I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel like my attention span has been very, very horrible in the last like few weeks. Um, but yeah, I think it's -10 outside, so I may not want to go, but I'm going to try. and I'm going to try to film it and see if I can edit it and make something that is presentable. Hopefully. I wish. Last time I tried to film something and I told myself I would edit it, and I never did, and I was rambling so much. I hope this isn't as rambly. I hope I can make something that looks, you know, kind of pretty and everything. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so there are just a couple of things that I wanted to add. So the first thing was kind of relevant to the hoarding, because I feel like I didn't explain that correctly at all. It's just that it didn't really make any sense the way I was trying to explain it. But I just feel like, you know, some people have a higher capacity to be very present. And, you know, I think some people are just more capable of, you know, starting on a clean slate and, you know, having those types of feelings of, you know, who I am today is not who I was yesterday. And then I feel like some other people just have a tendency to be a little bit more, it's like, you know, they're hoarding memories and hoarding the feelings attached to those memories, which kind of, you know, makes you feel like you're living in a perpetual state of grief and just constantly moving around with like a heavy heart that is just accumulating everything, and everything is going in and absolutely nothing is going out. And so I just feel like that's kind of like one of the ways I was kind of trying to refer to it, and especially like in this context, that's just kind of what I was trying to say. And I feel like for these people like us, it's like, it's not like it isn't tempting to want to have that feeling of, you know, starting over, but it's just like, what do you do that you can do without your own heart? Where do you go where you can leave your heart behind and just take nothing with you, just like be a newborn baby or something? Like, how do you do that? It's like, I feel like some people just have a better capacity to conceptualize themselves as being born anew, whether it's every day, every year, whatever that is, whereas some people just have, they tend to retain a little bit more inside of their hearts, I feel like, and live a little bit more attached to those memories. Right, so I think some people just have a bit more of a tendency to not only live with those feelings and carry them around, but also just kind of like it shapes their identity. I feel like some people are just, who they are is very much shaped by what they're feeling and what they experience, and especially what they feel about everything that they experience, and they kind of just, you know, identify with those feelings. And I feel like I'm one of those people. And anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, but that was just, you know, to clarify what I was talking about before, because I feel like it made no sense. And then the other thing that I also wanted to clarify is when I was talking about the planets, I feel like that also made no sense, but I was just trying to say that you know, time is just a social construct, or at least not time, but at the very least, you know, the organization of time and the way that it is, it's just the only reason why it's, you know, because people have decided that it's the best way to, you know, manage this time. But it's not, it doesn't, what I was trying to say is that it doesn't necessarily mean anything, you know, the when it's like a specific day of the week, when it's a Monday, when it's, you know, 2024 instead of 2023, it doesn't really change anything. But the reason why I was referring to the planets is because I was like, okay, well, I can understand why some people may think of it in the sense that, well, you know, the planet did a whole turn, it's like, you know, something special, it only, so I was just trying to think of it from that perspective. I don't know if, I was just trying to see it from both sides. I don't know if any of this makes sense. I was just trying to say, like, I can understand the people that would say that it's just not relevant in any way. And I feel like I'm just going on a tangent, and nothing I'm saying is, I'm probably going to cut off everything of the video where I'm talking about the time, because it's just truly not working out for me. I feel like sometimes it's just Okay, so I ended up deciding to stay at home. I asked my dad if he could just, drop me off. It's like 30 seconds away because um, I didn't want to walk in like -10 weather. I don't know, I just didn't want to walk in that cold at night. And he actually offered to make me some coffee, and his cappuccinos are very good, so that was very sweet of him. So I'm just gonna drink it here. And I don't know if it's a good idea for me to be drinking coffee at night. I have not been sleeping well at all in the last, I don't know, like maybe 2 weeks or something. And I keep waiting, when you don't sleep for a long time and then you have like that one night where you feel like I mean, obviously it's not really possible to catch up to that much lost sleep. Um, but at least you feel, rejuvenated the next day. But I just haven't been feeling that. Like every single day I've either been sleeping very, very, very late and just waking up at a normal time, or sleeping at a normal-ish time and then waking up like extremely early at 3 or 4 a.m. So that's like not very nice. But I'm watching The Corpse Bride, which is a movie I like a lot. And I don't know if I'm gonna be reading. I have like such a horrible migraine, and um, yeah, I don't know if I'm in the mood for this, but I'm trying to keep reminding myself that I can like cut the parts where I'm saying like nothing necessary, because when I try to rush myself and get myself to say like something pertinent, which is like very difficult for me, I feel like I have to walk around in circles and say like a million things before I get to the point of what I was saying. And like I'm trying to remind myself that I can go through these and just see what I want to keep and what I want to cut away. So if I have like 2 minute spaces, it's fine, I guess. Something that I just thought of is like just the fact that I'm doing this, I feel like is in a way makes me feel like I don't 100% believe what I was saying before, because I'm trying something new. And coincidentally it's also New Year's Eve, so maybe I do have a slight thing in my heart that's like, why not try something new, something that you might enjoy? And this is actually very fun. um, Obviously the difficult part is going to be editing, because I have no idea how to do that. Absolutely no clue. Every single time I've tried, it's just been tried as in like opened the app and literally examined like 3 options and then closed the app and never thought of it again. So um, yeah, my level of effort is not very good in absolutely anything. Maybe that should be a New Year's resolution, because I really need to be less lazy. But I hope this doesn't fall. I'm trying to think of encouraging things that I can say. For anyone that's feeling alone, feeling lonely, feeling left out, or even if you are, around people, but you're just, I find, you can feel the most lonely when you're around people, even, significantly lonelier than being completely alone. I feel like it's different sensations, but I just think it's important to remind ourselves that, what we think we should be doing is just not necessarily, like, it's just not a true reflection of what things are. So whenever you see people talking about their goals or whatever it may be, if you feel like that your goals aren't as big, or even if you don't have any goals at all, just remind yourself that it's okay. Like, you don't have to be doing things exactly the way people are doing them, and you don't have to be feeling what they're feeling. And if you're not feeling a sense of rejuvenation just because the year has changed, it doesn't mean that you aren't it doesn't mean that you're hopeless. You know what I mean? People get their hopes from different things. Some people start the year new and they celebrate with people, and it provides like a feeling of hope for something new. But just because that source that thing specifically doesn't provide you hope, it doesn't mean that you're like this pessimistic, negative, hopeless person. You just get your hopes from different things, and that's completely okay. It's completely okay to not feel like starting a new year is this big change, and that you have to have like extremely high hopes for it, as if it's like something completely different when it's just like a change in number. So I mean, that's not like to disrespect, like if you do have those feelings of hope, I think that can be great. That can be like absolutely amazing motivation, to work through certain habits or whatever it is that you like to change. And so I'm absolutely not, making it seem like that's a bad thing, but I just think that for people that don't have those feelings, it can, make us feel left out. So I'm just, trying to send a positive message to anyone that might relate to this. And if you're not feeling those feelings, um, that's just okay. It doesn't reflect on. I feel like I'm going around in circles, but it doesn't reflect on who you are to not be, doing or feeling what everyone else is. And just because it has that association with hopefulness, it doesn't mean that if you're not feeling it about this particular thing, about starting a new year, it doesn't, represent who you are. It doesn't mean that, you have no hope, which I feel like that's just something that I was feeling. Like, I was like, oh my god, if I can't even feel hopeful for the New Year's, like, am I like, I don't know, am I a lifeless? I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what's the right analogy, but I can't think of one. I was like, did my life end? Because like, I don't know. But if you are watching this and you can relate to this feeling, your life has not ended. And if you're not feeling a change because soon it's going to go from 11:59 to 12 a.m., that's okay. It doesn't reflect anything about you, and it's all right. And people have their own pace, and it's not just their own pace, but people also have different ways of motivating themselves. And just because you don't motivate yourself in a certain way, it doesn't mean that you're not going to accomplish things. It just means that